What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday, man. Can you believe it's summer already? We're trying something different. We're just getting this ball rolling with this lunch break live the past couple weeks. And so we're testing some different things out. We want to try to be able to bring it to a few different platforms all at once, because we know that, when you guys have a few minutes, you're on your lunch break, that you might be looking at different things. YouTube, Facebook, it's on a couple different places. It's going to be there. And right now you can't stream also simultaneously to Instagram. So for now, we're just going to take the recording and we'll upload it into Instagram. For anybody that frequents that channel and wants to check out the content here that we're putting out. So like I said, we're going to be doing this every Thursday, or at least we're going to try to do it every single Thursday, but we're going to stick to that every single Thursday and just try to bring you some quick general information, whether it be real estate related, something specific, in terms of buying and selling property, or something that within the industry that might be some important information for you to know, whether you're buying a house right now or not buying, or selling a house right now, whether it's now, in the future, or somewhere in between. There's still going to be a lot of information that could pertain to you as a current homeowner or somebody who might be looking in the future to buy a home. And we'll expand from there as well with just other business owners and other things in the community, because there's just so much to offer. So we want to make it quick, short, to the point, because we know everybody's limited on time. But yeah, it's summer here. Summer actually officially, I guess, doesn't start for another like 21 days. I don't know if you've been outside lately. It's summertime. And we already have a storm potentially coming our way this weekend. So it looks like it might be a wet weekend. We'll see what happens. But anyways, today, really quickly, is how in the world can you win an offer in today's market with a contingency on that offer, right? And what that means for any people out there that might not understand what that means, a contingent offer is when you submit an offer to purchase a home, basically there's contingencies on that. Now those contingencies can mean anything from, just general home inspection. That's a contingency. That's pretty standard. An appraisal contingency, those can be pretty standard, not quite as much lately in some cases, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But there's other contingencies too, and this is what I'm really talking about, because over the past month, we've had 3 families we've worked with, and 2 that had contingencies on their offers, pretty big ones, considering the type of market that we've been in for the last 18-24 months. And 2 of those families, the contingency that they had on their offer was it was contingent upon the sale of their house in a completely different state. And in this market, that's a pretty big deal, because there's, unless you've been under a rock or not paying attention, there's not a lot of inventory right now out there in the market. So for people that are out there, home buyers, no matter how the market looks, buyer's market, seller's market, up, down, whatever someone's opinion is, there's always people in those times that everybody needs a place to live, everybody needs a place to stay. And, just because the market doesn't look good for one person doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't look good for another person. It's all perspective, and it's all about timing. And in this case, in the time that we're in, putting an offer on a house with a contingency on the sale of your home can be pretty difficult to get that accepted. It's not impossible, but when you don't have a lot of inventory and you have a lot of competition, and you're dealing with multiple offers, that can become a real hard selling point, right? For some home buyers, and a big task or feat for the agent that they might be working with. So it's super, super important to really keep in mind a few key things if you're in that situation. And these are things that if you, as a home buyer or out there in that position right now, you're going to want these things, be looking for these things in your real estate agent. You're going to want them to have these things top of mind and have these qualities. And if you are a real estate agent looking at, watching this, first off, I don't pretend to know everything, right? I know a few things, but I haven't been doing this as long as some other people. And you guys might have different opinions as well in terms of some of the things that I say. And drop a comment, send me a message. Like, I want to hear from, your opinions. And if you're a home buyer out there, a prospective home buyer, drop a comment. If you have a question, send me a private message as well. If there's anything that we can do, even if it's not pertaining to this subject right here, then we'll, I'm more than happy to do another video on that, or just have a private conversation. But there's a few qualities. So, we could talk about this for an hour, 2 hours. We could talk about this for a while, right? That's not the, but we don't have enough time. So we're going to break this down. I'm going to go over 4 quick things, 4 quick qualities that I think are super, super important to have if you're working with a family, or if you as a family are working with an agent and you're looking to purchase a house, win an offer with a contingency on that offer. And mainly, specifically what we're talking about right now is like a big contingency, like the sale of your home, right? If you have this, that's what a lot of people are worried about right now. Yeah, I can sell my home for top dollar, but how am I going to end up buying another home? So we've had some success the past 30 days with a few families, and I'm gonna share with you 4 things that we kept top of mind that were super important, and that, in my opinion, I believe really set us apart, made the difference in being able to beat out other competing offers that maybe necessarily didn't have that same contingency in place. And it doesn't always come down to highest price. So I'm going to run through these really quickly. And as I said, if you have any questions, need any further clarification, drop a comment, shoot me a private message, and more than happy to have a more in-depth conversation about that. But number 1, you have to be efficient in what you're doing, right? Time is of the essence right now in a lot of cases, because there's not a lot of inventory, because it's super competitive. Most homes, if it looks good and it's priced good, is not staying on the market for a terribly long time. Even with interest rates going up a little bit right now, which historically they're still pretty low, there's still a lot of competition, and homes right now are still going under contract relatively quickly. Last time that I looked at it, which was just a week or 2 ago, I think the average days on market right now, at least in the Orlando metro area, going from West Volusia all the way down to Kissimmee, is about 10 days on market. That's not a very long time. If you consider, if you go back just 2 years ago, it was more closer to like 30 days. So that's a pretty big difference. So it becomes imperative to really be efficient in what you're doing and setting up your game plan. So that starts from the very beginning with setting up prospective houses and prospective showings, right? For instance, the 2 of the families that we were working with, like I said, they had homes out of state. They were coming down to visit. We had a very limited window of time where they could actually be here in person to see these homes. So it was super important that we game planned the homes that we wanted to go see. We researched these homes. We plotted them out so we were most efficient with our driving. I mean, like down to all the details, and how do we be as most efficient with our time to cover as much ground as possible. And that kind of goes into number 2 as well, which is being proactive. And if you're being efficient, you're being proactive. And like I said, that starts with looking at these homes. What are these prospective homes that your clients might be looking at, or you as a home buyer are going to be looking at? And you really got to figure out what that comes down to, knowing what your wants are, what your needs are, what your non-negotiables are, what are some things you might be flexible on when it comes to the house, so that you're not just going out there to just random houses that are just happen to be on the market for sale, and it's in the price range, because it might not be the right fit, and you don't want to waste time. With that being said too, when talking about price range, part of that being proactive and efficient is, one of the things that I've noticed is that with certain listings, depending on, there's some iBuyer, some of these big investment companies now that are buying up homes and then reselling them, iBuyer companies. Average days on market for most sales is 10 days. But what I've noticed with a lot of those companies is that their average days on market is closer to like 40, 50 days, and that they're usually doing a few price reductions. So in being proactive, I was looking at homes that were just a little bit above and beyond what the family we were working with, what their normal price range was. Because I know in the back of my mind that there's a high likelihood that it might not be as competitive, and that there's a good chance that they also might be willing to come down on that price to within the range that if someone is more comfortable with that particular buyer. So part of that being proactive, I'm just going through some of my notes here. Part of being that proactive is approach is also if you find a potential home that you want to make an offer on, that your client wants to make an offer on, that they have interest in, that showing is your first opportunity to look for any potential problems. My goal when I'm going to showings with families that are looking at houses is I want to try to find things in those houses that might be concerns before we ever even get to the inspection period. There's certain things you're not going to know and find everything when you go to do a showing. You know, that's what the inspection is for. A more in-depth and detailed assessment of the home. But there are certain things that you can look for that may be potential issues once you get under contract. For example, what type of plumbing is in the house? What's the electrical panel look like? Is it up to date? How old is the roof? Is it an architectural shingle? Is it a 3-tab roof? You know, what is the outside of the house look like? The stucco work, any possible, foundation issues, things like that. What, the information on the septic, there's things that you can look at and try to, especially a lot of big ticket items, things that you can try to assess to get a general idea and good idea of what you're potentially looking at. Because that's going to that can make a big difference in terms for you as a buyer, or if you're even going to make an offer, how much you're willing to offer or even negotiate at that point, depending on a lot of those things. And there's no reason to get to the home inspection and find out some of these things at the home inspection, because some of these things can easily be looked at and assessed before you even get that far, and before you even shell out $400, $500, $600 for a home inspection, and then you got to go start all over again. So being efficient, being proactive when you're looking at these homes, not just opening the door and letting home buyers just walk through and say, "Oh, do you like it? Yeah, the closets look great, big size, great size. Yeah, awesome. Let's write an offer." No, that's lazy. That's not what we're there for. The other part of that being proactive really quickly is having vendors on standby. So if I know that time is of the essence, if I know that we're on a limited timeline, and I also know that we need to be as efficient as possible, I'm going to be proactive in contacting the home inspectors that we work with, getting them on standby. Hey, what's your availability for the next X number of days? Excuse me. Because I want to have that tentatively set up, ready to go. Fortunately, I work with some great home inspectors. Our team works with some great home inspectors. We've done a lot of homes together, and they've made it a point that if we need something in inspection potentially within the next 24 to 48 hours, like, they can make that happen, which is huge. And if you already have that, know that going in, when you're writing that offer, that can make all the difference too, in terms of timeline. And also when you're looking at these potential issues that might come up in homes, you can also get other vendors and contacts on standby as well, if you know that there's certain things that you might want to assess. For example, what is if it's got a septic tank, how soon, and you want to get in a septic inspection, which I typically always recommend. What's their availability look like? How soon can they get out there? Are they going to be able to get out there within that window of the inspection period? Because if you can get all these lined up within just a matter of days and taken care of, well, then that might allow you to shorten your inspection period even more so than some of these other competing offers, if you have your ducks in a row ready to go. The third thing is being organized, right? And it's funny that I say that, because I'm probably like one of the most unorganized people out there. It's organized to me a lot of times, but to anybody else, like, it looks crazy. So that's why I'm very thankful to have a great transaction coordinator who helps keep me organized. And I'm thankful to have a great, awesome wife, because she keeps me organized as well and keeps me on task. But organization is so key. And that starts with the paperwork. As a home buyer that's financing, is all your stuff ready to go? Are you pre-approved? Do you have all your documents in order? is all those hoops been jumped through? And is a real estate agent in communication with your mortgage broker or bank or the lender, whoever that person is? Are they on the same page? Are they working together? Because this is a team effort, right? Especially in circumstances like this, in a situation like this. You really need to present yourself, your real estate agent and their team, mortgage broker included, really need to present themselves to that listing agent and that homeowner as a well-oiled machine that knows what they're doing. They're on top of things, minimal mistakes, things like that, because that's going to be huge in their thought process, especially if you're competing. You want to coordinate with the listing agent for the home that they're interested in, that they're thinking about making an offer on. Have a conversation with that listing agent. I can't tell you like how many times I've listed a home and we've gotten a lot of interest on it, and I'll have some agents that will either just send me an email or they'll shoot me a text message. And I don't know if some of them are just doing that to be polite because they think maybe my phone's already blowing up and calling me is just going to annoy me even more. Or if they're like, I don't like talking on the phone, so I'm just going to text him. It works just as well. No, it does not. No, it does not. I know some people prefer text. I know some people prefer email, but in my experience, right? In my experience, and people might have a different opinion, but in my experience, I have had a lot more success with having an actual conversation with that listing agent, because it gives me an opportunity to get to know them a little bit more, maybe get a little bit more information about the house, about the homes, the sellers, what is their motivations, what is their timeline, what's important to them, and all that helps. All of those things go into play, because we're not playing checkers, we're playing chess, right? So this is not just about putting the highest offer in. We are looking at this from so many different angles. So having a at least one conversation before you submit an offer with a listing agent, if you can make that happen, some are harder to get a hold of than others, but if you can make that happen, I think it's super important. I talked about coordinating with the buyer's mortgage lender, right? That is such a valuable resource. That's another point of contact for you as a real estate agent or you as a home buyer with that listing agent. You're submitting that offer and you follow that right up with the mortgage lender or broker, sending an email or giving them a phone call or text message as well, touching base with them, letting them know that they're excited for this family to submit this offer. And that if they have any concerns, if they have any questions, to please contact them. Like the people that we work with, the vendors that we work with when it comes to home inspectors, mortgage brokers, lenders, like these are all things that I look at. Like how flexible can they be? How professional are they? How accountable are they? But also how flexible can they be in certain circumstances when it really matters for us to go above and beyond, like just to try to outshine everybody in these competitive situations. Like I need to surround myself with a good team that wants to rise to that occasion too, because that's what we want to give to the families that we're working with. So, being organized, being prepared, having your ducks in a row, being ready to submit that offer as quickly as possible, as efficiently, as clean as possible. You want a clean contract, no errors, no omissions, nothing that looks kind of janky or like sloppy. All right, no different than when you're in school and if you write the paper with a crayon and turn it in, or you type it up on the computer and send it in. We want everything looking crisp, clean, and like I said, well-oiled machine. The last thing, and I think I've touched on this a little bit, is communication, right? That is probably like the most important and overlooked thing sometimes. And I touched on that before when I talked about how sometimes people don't, I get just text messages from an agent that's submitting an offer. We have 10, 12, 15 offers on the house. I have agents calling me and this agent just shoots me a text message, hey, submitted an offer. Or I got a question, can you call me? Like, I'm probably not going to call them because I'm probably fielding other phone calls from other agents that are calling me, being proactive, being efficient, being organized for their clients, and fielding those questions for them. So knowing how to communicate with people, and also understanding that not everybody's like you. I admittedly, like I've had to work on that too. Like I've got to try, I want to try to be relatable, personable to the other listing agent that I'm talking with. I want to, get on their level and see if we can connect. And really just, it helps me gather information, helps me build that rapport, builds trust. If we are submitting an offer that has a certain contingency, the other thing too, I already talked about making a phone call, but whenever I'm submitting an offer, I'm sending a video message with it, right? Or at some point I'm sending a video message to that listing agent. I do a lot with videos, send a lot of videos to the families we work with. I think it's really good, important to put a name to a face. I think it helps build a little bit more rapport, makes them, makes them more familiar, with you, and it sets you apart. It sets you as an agent apart. It sets your agent apart. It makes them different, and it makes them more memorable. And when you have 15, 20 offers coming in, even 10 offers, like, you need to be memorable, right? What's going to stand out, right? The offer helps, don't get me wrong, but there's other things that go into this, right? I'm telling you, there's other things that go into this. So I'll send a quick video message. Hey, so-and-so, Don Sprinkle here. Just saw just showed your home to a family we're working with. They absolutely love it. They love what the owners did with the flooring there. They think they did a really good job, and they absolutely love the backyard and the pool area. Like, that is just, looks like, an oasis to them. They're already picturing themselves in it and what furniture they want to move in. I'm going to get on this right now, put an offer together. We're going to make it, as strong as possible. I know we had a conversation earlier, and we're going to get this together to you. I'm going to send it over. So be on the lookout for that. 30, 40 seconds. That's it, right? Just send them a quick message. Like, I'm telling you, other people might have different opinions on this. Me personally, I think it goes a long way. I've seen it make a difference. And if you got an agent that's willing to, put themselves out there, be personable, be proactive, communicate effectively with the other side, it can really bring you a lot of good success. Now, we're not going to go into the actual particulars of writing the contract, right? And all the different ways you can kind of put that together with when you have a contingency, and how you can get creative on that, because again, that would be a whole nother segment. We can definitely do another episode on that, or you can reach out to me, drop a comment, or reach out to me privately, and we can kind of go over some of those specifics and some of those situations that we did. But it really comes down to knowing what you as a home buyer, or knowing as an agent what your home buyer is comfortable with. What are their limits, right? Financially, what are they comfortable with financially, and what are their non-negotiables, right? I'm never going to lie to somebody, or try to push somebody into a house if it might be a bad financial situation for them. I'm always going to give them my honest opinion on what I think it might take to win an offer on a home, based on all the due diligence we did leading up to that point. I'm going to give them what I think is going to be, this is what I think is going to take to win an offer, right? Get your offer accepted. Now, they have to make that decision at that point, if that's something that they're comfortable with. And I kind of look at it like this. If somebody's on the fence and about the kind of offer they make, you can ask them this question, or you can ask yourself this question: if I don't get my offer accepted, am I okay with it? Or if I don't get my offer accepted, am I going to be kicking myself and regretting it? And sometimes when people look at it from that perspective, it kind of maybe clears things up a little bit. But I'm always going to put out there what is probably going to be what it's going to take to win an offer. Now, I already might know that that's not within the family that we're working with, the home buyers. I already might know that that's beyond their limits, but I'm going to be honest, right? Like I said, I'm not just going to force somebody into a house, or push them into a house, or tell them it's a good deal for them when it's really not. We want to look at everything from all angles, give you give you the access to as many resources and as much information as possible, so that you can then make the most accurate and informed decision for yourself and for your family. Sorry. And that's it, right? So we're not there to convince anybody for anything, but so like I said, the four things that are really super, super important for somebody as a real estate agent to really keep in mind if they're in a situation where they're writing an offer for a home that has a contingency, like a sale of another property, on that, you got to be efficient, you got to be proactive, you got to be organized, and you got to be in communication with the family you're working with the listing agent, the mortgage broker. And the other thing I almost forgot really quickly, you also need to be in communication. If you're working with a family that does have a sale on their other home that is under contract, you most definitely need to be in communication with their listing agent on that side of things, keeping up to date on the progress of things. What kind of offer do they have? Where are they at in the escrow process? And reaching their closing date? Do we anticipate any problems? Things like that. But I know that was a lot of information all at once. I think we probably went a little bit over 15, 20 minutes. I don't know exactly. And we could probably talk about this for another hour or two at the very least. But I just wanted to run through like these 4 things that I believe really made a difference for us and for the families that we helped with these three home offers and that we got accepted. All of them with contingencies. 2 of them sale of their property. The other one a VA buyer, which is can be super difficult in this market right now, but it's not impossible. If you're working with the right people that have the right skill set and the right attitude and the right mindset and the right resources and know how to access them. So like I said, any questions, any comments, any concerns, think I messed up, whatever. If you think somebody's going to get some value from this, share it, please. I always appreciate it. And like I said, you can always call, text, email anytime. We got your back 100%. And even if you just have a question. So you guys have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you next week for Lunch Break Live.